Так, всем привет, всем привет. С вами Дикер. Дикер, да. Мы продолжаем проходить Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Да-да. У меня курсор застрял. Все, жив. Жив. Я подумаю. Так, добавить, сейчас уведомление сделаю. Видеозапись. Ладно. Ладно. Ты куда засунул-то? Что засунул? Откуда знаю? Что засунул? Микрофон засунул сюда. Так. Все видно, серьезно. Больше эта штука у нас не появляется. То, что нас спрашивают. Так. Дискорд сделал давление. Стэнли. Код. Концовки. Вот. Тут хорошая ссылка. Привет, это хоррор. Раш, привет, приятного просмотра. Нет, это не хоррор. Это просто интересная игрушка такая. Хоррор я не могу найти нормальный, уж поверь. Если хочешь порекомендовать мне хороший хоррор, то можешь выказывать, там у нас есть беседка. Очень не рекомендует, но все-таки можно. Ну или просто сказать. Но там более подробно, чтобы я не забыл, всякое такое. Потому что я умею забывать. Да, к сожалению. У нас... Так, начать игры. Я подумаю. Окей. Как тебе делишки, Раш? Сейчас я вспомню, у нас должна быть сковородка, ведро. У нас типа все заново. Чё? Чё это было? Так, что за зависание еще было? CTF загрузчик. Какой загрузчик? Ты чего? У меня консоли нет, это чё? Какой загрузчик? Ты чё? Ты будешь делать стрим по Pizza Tower? Скорее всего, нет. Так, мы должны пройти игру. Иметь дела норм. Окей. Это супер. Что это не хоррор? Это обычно... Что за нового материала? Я не знаю, это даже не хоррор. Мне это рекомендовали. Что за новый контент? Не понял. Дишки это хорошо. Это супер. Чё я с телефона в интернет сижу? С компа. Да. Все, что играете Ultra Deluxe. Спасибо. Не за что. Ва. 2013, да. Чившие знания. Вошли на Ultra Deluxe. Да. Пересмысленно на консоли персональных компьютеров. Хорошо. Содержит новый материал, да? Окей, как скажешь. Ва. Рад игроков всему миру. Ура. Проходите и взгляните на удивительные приключения. Здесь просто чуть... Блин, сорян, мне надо идти и делать историю, потом, может быть, зайду. Блин, ну ладно. Ну, стрим недолгий будет, на час примерно, потому что у меня куча работы сегодня, прям реально. Есть чем заняться, еще и устал. У тебя слив туда, но верь от начала. Удачи, спасибо тебе тоже удачи. Пока. Ну, надеюсь, завтра будет стрим. Или послезавтра. Ну, не знаю, но должен быть стрим на этой неделе еще, конечно. Давай, удачки. Заходи как-нибудь. А, мы едем. Окей, давай. Давай. Не знаю, если кто-то в этом. Ссылки там. А, чё? Вот обратно. Ладно.
Alright, let's see, it's the jump circle.
Так, можно отвернуться? Ладно. Зачем прыжки делать так много? Так. Чё?
Is that it?
Да.
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Чё? И чё это? А, чё, лифт, да. Рассказать сочинение так себе. Пошел к черту. И лифты, и прыжки, вы это называете новыми материалами? Такое мне нравится. Будешь мне просто туда слова почитай. Почитай.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yeah.
Чё это?
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Да, тоже. Опа, ваза какая. Спасибо за...
That's it?
Да.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this?
Да.
I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game?
Нет.
We'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me.
Хорошо. Не, я не хочу тупорить время. Нет. Нет. Ну что? Тварь. С игры пропала концовка, которая типа ты сидишь здесь. Закрыть нельзя теперь. Ты тварь. Ладно. Теряться.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Нет, не хочу.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Пошел к черту. Так. А прыгать не умею еще? Так, так. Опа. За что? За что? Давай, давай. Ну давай. Ладно. Контент закрыт.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
То есть
Perhaps he
интересно.
wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Понял. Что написано там? Но хо... не даже понтинники. Жизненно.
Stanley, come over here. In the
Что вообще настроения нету?
I want to show you something.
Я тоже почистить теперь стал. Угу.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
Что это?
Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where
Я на
I've been
памяти нет
storing
чего.
all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Что
You
это
see,
место?
Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of
Крамница по стрим. Что это? Украинский?
Back then, video games had integrity.
Да, это украинский,
Back then,
походу.
it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Ладно. Можете это сжечь? Демонстрация какая-то. Улыбайся, то, что весело. Нет. Ну, я могу получить за концовку. Ой, не концовку. Не играй 5 лет. Пять лет это легко. И походу теория то, что не хотели делать, когда игра вышла в 2014, поэтому разработчики начали работать в 2019 году, да, получается, раз в 5 лет не заходить. Или это просто сделано? Ладно. Ладно. Так, а что прыгать это? Что смысл? Кто? Осуждаю, мать. Мать, не понял, у меня настроения нет еще. Блин, мать, не надо. Не надо, мать, не надо. Мать, не надо.
Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley
даже в 18 году
Parable
начали
was.
работать, походу, над
It was
этим.
literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk. with an hour of new elevator content.
Доволен. Че? Ладно. А зачем не сыти?
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
9.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Допустим. Ты что, краешь? А.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Нет.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Сон, насрано. Насрал. Это я не ожидал вообще.
Okay, let's see what this one says.
Не, я отказываюсь. Отказываюсь.
For someone who prefers
Yeah.
familiar games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not
Yeah.
preachy, am I? You can
Да.
tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse.
Ну что больше делал?
You
Понимаешь?
can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
Так можно умереть, если что, ребята, я так и понял. Как, ну, типа, можно умудриться умереть, наверное, да?
Perhaps the Stanley Parable
Я такой еще гений.
isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Один путь. Ладно.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator
Чё?
can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my
Что это?
motto, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this. And okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45... Stanley, Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting
проход нету, чё?
really truly getting longer.
Пошел к черту.
There's no way out of the room.
Дверь исчезла, все.
You're back. You're back. Oh my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a
Нет входа, все.
2 weeks.
2 недели прошло.
Sitting here all that time. Just sitting here.
Плевать год.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us.
А все, он походу. Ладно. Ладно.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed.
Тише, тише. Ладно. Как время-то? Я время сломал, походу.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the
С ума сошел.
end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never.
Интересно, блин. Пошли. Что это? Сейчас все сломается. Ладно. Офигеть, красиво как. Блин, интересно же, однако. Это реально имеет смысл какой-то. Это реально какой-то смысл имеет. Он такой свежий смысл какой-то прям. Это реально это насыщенная игра очень. Никакая там скучная игра, она прям насыщенная. Прям чувствуешь, что какая-то она хорошая. Прям тепло от нее идет. Но никогда не получу это. Хи-хи. Что это? Наконец это? И ладно. Чё это? Что происходит? А. Ой. Кнопка сломалась. А должен в пустыню уходить. Но не. Да ну не. О. Спасибо. Это пипец, блин. Не люблю такие игры, в которых надо типа вот уходить далеко куда-то, знаете, вот посреди там места просто придёт уходить куда-то. Они такие скучные игры на самом деле.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure.
Будет концовка с этим.
He had to make a decision. What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that...
Короче, я понял. Одно и то же. То есть ничего не меняется. Ну, а может меняется, но ждать не хочу это, честно.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Должно же было что-то меняться. С прыжками учили. А, да, открыто.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something. When Stanley came to a set of...
Я хотел посмотреть.
Not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring, but eager to get...
Я хочу посмотреть.
Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Зачем я сделал такой путь затяжной, я не знаю.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his...
Здесь, по идее, должно быть... А его нету. Его нету. Заново. Сейчас я... Так, ладно. Я расстрел идет. Идет. Ничего то вообще настроения нет, ладно, это зачем мне говорит на стриме.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, good. You noticed my sign.
Да.
Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
А теперь закрой это, пожалуйста. Ах ты ж тварь. А больше никуда идти, некуда идти там. Оно загораживает. Я типа хотел подождать, когда он типа закроет. Ну, типа, закроется. Там никакого звука нет. А закрыть я сам не могу. Типа, ничего не взаимодействует там вообще. Сами видели. Так, чё, куда?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Чё?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Так я никуда не могу пойти. Чё несёшь-то?
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean?
Всё закрыто.
Stanley Parable 2. Now that's an artistic statement right there.
Чё ты несёшь? Это ложь.
It screams progress and innovation and
Шиза, типа шизофрения.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable
Чем будет, это ещё не придумал, потому что.
But let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of
Ладно.
naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Doom 2. Ну это да, это понятно, короче. Типа все два, но третьей части никого не будет. Я это знаю. Не любят третью... Никогда не делали третью часть Valve и всякое такое. Вот никогда не делали третью часть. Вот никогда. Так, все нормально? Да, все год.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Так, а все закрыто опять. Похоже на помещение из этого.
A common complaint of the
Не помню,
Stanley
ладно.
parable was that it was confusing
Амнезия,
and
амнезия.
paradoxical, that it engendered a
Чутка.
chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it.
Можно фонарик?
I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley
Здесь ничего нету.
reassurance bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill
Ведро
your mind
какое?
and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than
Дай.
actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes,
Да геморрой тебя
the
это.
bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing
О, да.
despair, must already be sweeping through your
Тут.
body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe
Вот это
the
всё, я
bucket
доволен.
lends you an air of
Моё ведро.
charisma as well?
Закрой рот
I
свой.
think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive. than
Закрой
first.
свой рот. Понимаю.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and
О,
on, don't they?
сюда фоточки.
All this and more awaits
Ah.
you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ну все,
Does anyone
это...
give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Free no easy achievement. О, концовки. Ну не концовки, а достижения халявные. Сюда. Ну, может, стяпс, чё?
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement.
Кто это?
You see, you'll come to this. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Ладно. Все закрыто. Че смысл объема этого?
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Что это? Какой круг прыжковый? Чё нету? А,
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
понимаю. Спасибо, очень классно. Украла ведро, что дальше? Это маска? Это дырка. Бесконечная дырка, кстати. Ну, дыра бесконечная. Где она?
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game.
Бесконечная
This is, in
дыра.
fact, a
Да.
hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of it.
Привлечил.
Is it a very, very deep hole?
Я все понял, брат.
It's an extreme.
Да, мне нравятся такие дырки,
I don't
знаю.
want anyone to say
Мне
it
нравится.
isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition
О.
of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
Чё? О,
Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall
Ты.
infinitely?
Я? Нет.
I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
Да.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just
Мы?
put all this
Я ничего не говорил.
and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite?
Не. Бесконечность, это значит, она будет скончаемая.
I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for
Так.
the sequel.
Пошел к черту. Ладно. Че наверху? Слышь ты? Что это? Два.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
А, чё?
Get Well Someday it is.
Ладно.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Ладно. А чё такое?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final
Jim,
game,
тут, наверное,
this
написано.
button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as
Ты не
Jim to
Jim.
really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it.
Нет.
Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Нет.
I want you to
Нет.
imagine yourself
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name.
Закрой рот свой.
Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now?
Иди отсюда.
I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Jim.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name the button says, but no. Instead, I can't even think about it. I'm taking the Jim button away.
Чё, ты забираешь? Ладно. Куда идем? А что такое?
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable. And
Что это?
would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes.
Какой
yes, we'll do
эпилог?
at the end of the,
Эпилог, чё?
Well, we'll figure that out later.
А чё, куда я иду? Почти бесконечно халявное достижение. То есть черная дыра это здесь или что это? Чемпион мира по настроению. А где найти это? Ну ладно. Ну ладно. Circle, круг. Как крутится, я не знаю. Я не знаю. Я ничего не знаю. Ну ладно. Так, кто я? Шли сюда. Что-то новое, что-то дыра какая-то. Ты можешь там что-то найти, что-то.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines.
Чё?
And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them.
Это надо, да.
I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Ура. Ну, 6 там все. Ага.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely.
Полный кошмар.
Magic.
Пошли отсюда. Здесь больше делать нечего.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted?
Да, тут делать
Ready
нечего.
to move on now?
Что это такое? Чего человеком сделали? О, здесь чипсы можешь поесть?
What do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
Нет,
Yes, I know it's not
нет.
exactly clear yet how
Я притрясло
exactly these
вообще-то.
features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Чё?
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley
Класс
Parable
Teams.
2.
Что это?
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort
Нет.
of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go.
А есть чипсы?
Version 2.
Корн, не?
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything.
Ага.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Так, чё? Что это кошмар? А ничего, что людей так может пугать такая тема, если что, или такой боязнь есть, если что. У такого у людей есть боязнь. Что это такое будет? У людей реальности, что это такая боязнь существует. Но они быстрее игру начинают, потому что им... Если что, реально такие люди есть, которые пугаются прямо этого. А бесконечно? Сейчас увидим. Поход, да. Или хз, я не знаю. Или хз, я не знаю. Гений. Ну постой, давай подождем. Все заново, да? Ну ладно. Это что-то будет интересное, типа. Добавили бы такое, и было бы классно.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a...
Я знаю. А ведро есть?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone? Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps
Так,
if
стоп,
it had
а я
seen
делал...
its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was
Чё?
way too much for Stanley. What are you talking about? He screamed. You're a bucket! To this, the bucket furrowed its brow. No, said the bucket. Not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No! Stanley screamed even louder this time. This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this? As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket.
Что это?
You already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket.
Да что?
The dark magic cast away inside of it.
А чё, если мы ничего не делать будем? Что будет, если мы ничего не будем делать? Я просто буду сидеть. Но я ничего не делаю. Я ничего не делаю. Ладно, пошли. Пошли.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave
Волна уюта, да.
rushed over him.
Можно кофе набрать себе? Так, это мы знаем. Ой, чё, куда я пошел? Нет, 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 нет. Для комнаты это право, ребят. А право это право, вот и все. Все логично. Эти статуэточки эти. И что-то получаем так. В итоге. Не итог. Да-да. Да-да-да. Понимаю. Опа. Так. Вот это мне интересно, нравится, да.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines.
О, да.
Remember, no reward for collecting all of these. Only
Ура,
the
ура, ура.
intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful.
Да хорошо, как скажешь. Так. Ой.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself
Ой.
from his dearest friend.
Ой.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Да вообще лютая любовь прям. Любовь морковь.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, the confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away
О,
as
да.
Stanley embraced the bucket.
Ура, ведро.
The bucket tightly to his chin. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the
Ура, 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 ура.
lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? No.
Что с этим можно еще сделать?
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Не-не-не-не.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
А, здесь есть вот эта штука, оказывается. А по такой шел, ну ладно. Или смысл прыжков в этой игре? Типа, чтобы показать пару раз это и все? В один раз, точнее. Вниз никак ничего не сделать. Высоко. Здесь закрыто, да. А, чё? А. Ладно, там можно, оказывается, быть. Так. ВБ1. Тут какой-то код есть, типа 1, 2, Б4 или что-нибудь. Какой стен? Ой. Ой.
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't?
Открой, он мой
I
друг.
suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This
Я не ставлю его здесь.
could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is
Зачем он про ведро мне рассказывает?
understanding of what is and isn't a bucket.
Я уже знаю, что такое ведро, типа.
Step in here for a moment.
Ой. Ой. Помогите. Помогите. Меня насилуют. Насилуют. Что это?
I'm going to run you through
Что это
the
за
scenarios,
стриптиз-клуб
and you'll
какой-то?
tell me
Что это
whether or
такое?
not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is
нельзя?
or is not a bucket. Okay.
Что есть ведро одни? А что нет? Чего? Так.
Item 1.
Это ведро?
Is this a bucket?
Нет.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual.
Голограммы. Чё?
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed
3D-принтере? Серьезно?
not an actual bucket.
Ты, господи, как заметить?
Item 3.
Нет,
Is
конечно.
this a bucket? Incorrect.
Мне плевать.
This is a bucket. Item 4.
Да.
Is this a bucket?
Чего?
Are you hallucinating? This is a
С ума сошел.
It's an enormous
Громошенко
machine
распашнувший
built here.
землю.
I thought this was a gimmick.
Да.
How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Нет.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Чего с подвохом? Типа у него ориентация, как у него, или что? Что у него может быть связано с
Wait,
этим?
hold on, I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
О,
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket.
что это не видно?
You know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm
Я уже слишком запутался, чтобы
trying to sort it
разобраться.
out. I've lost all sense of perspective.
Дайте я
What
запутал.
is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago, I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Да.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with.
Кроме меня у меня нет
I'm
больше.
afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our
Разрушать наши отношения.
I can't have that. I'm
Это не
sorry.
позволю, прости.
I'm going to erase
Я строю из игры всё. Нет! 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 За что?
What happened? Is everything gone?
Тут все ведро в мире.
Disappeared. Wait,
Тут все это ведро.
everything a bucket?
Да, да,
Every
да.
single thing in the
Да.
room was a bucket. God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at
Ладно.
ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets.
Да.
Okay? and we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't
Хорошо.
mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Все в мире это ведром. После этого пошел, да, прошел заш.
All of his co-workers.
Да, короче, апокалипсис происходит теперь в мире.
Stanley decided
Понимаете?
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he
Meeting
had
room.
witnessed a warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket.
Идем снова туда.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift.
Пошли,
yes.
пошли.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It
Чё- вот
showed
что-то
alarm,
открытое.
of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Какой темный комнат здесь все. О. О, да.
Now pick up the phone.
Said
Так. Здравствуйте. И чё?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him. The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
А,
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
мультики, смешарики.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All
Пошел
it
чёрта.
ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's
Чё?
it. It doesn't do
Чё?
anything else.
Про другу так не говори.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened
Почти.
to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket.
Всегда
Well,
красиво.
I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Да,
Yes, I
существует,
suppose on
конечно.
closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say?
Эй, хобби это были, это да.
More capable of transporting
Я и ведро.
like it would be
Хобби
better at moving them
эх,
from
ты мне,
one room to another.
Че я говорю, алкаш поганый, пошел к черту.
Oh my god, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Че?
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No, 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 no. What's going on? Why do I want to be...
Потому что мы уже женаты. И уже нас с
Do
ведром.
anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Хорошо. Ё-моё, что это такое?
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just... Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket
Так, если обратно вернуть сюда.
telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it... No, never mind.
А если обратно пойду? Вот, то есть снова туда пойду.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo.
Чел. Ничего не изменится в этом месте? Чё?
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling.
Hmm.
And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it.
Не, ведро мне не нравится, куда я его несу, типа, он не нравится. Мне лучше, когда в руках свободно. Мне ну, ведро мне не нравится. Пипец, чел.
What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it.
Чего?
It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket.
Пипец.
But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to... What's that? Who's there?
Что это такое? Что это? Интересно. Все заново? Да. Опа, все пропало, ну заново сделать тогда все, да? Надо, то есть, что-то сделать с этим, то есть возвращаться туда. Ладно. А. Чего? Они другие какие-то стали.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind.
Так, ладно.
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Какая ошибка, чел? Кто-то что-то родился, чел.
Oh, good
Хорошо.
Stanley, I'm glad you found your way here.
Wow,
And
wow,
we
wow,
will
wow,
find
wow.
this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley.
Правильно тебя ставили.
We've come together here because we care about you. very
Психолог,
much.
типа.
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere.
Это психолог,
It
типа.
isn't even from
Еще
the
этот.
original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content.
Все
We're
это
the
точно.
ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time
Пошли
with
к черту.
Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
А, нельзя ничего? Мгм. А, и вот драка это. И чё, куда?
Look at that
Чё, куда?
line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as
Не
well.
надо с музычкой. А, это нормально. Ту 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 та та па 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 и па па
Now
па.
this is
Фух.
what the Stanley Parable is all
Нет,
about.
не фух.
Don't you remember
Фух,
all
да.
those great jokes from the
Сейчас на
original
фух, а
dialogue?
там нет.
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Жиза. Жиза.
Now
Осуждаю.
as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Нет. Здесь концовки, да, понятно, почему их больше. Они куда расширеннее.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
Нет.
That's why I'm very proud
Кто
to
мне
introduce a
строчит?
brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Чел, нет.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley.
Нет.
Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after
Пипец.
this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Что это?
The Bucket Destroyer My prized
Ah.
creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, too.
Потенциал.
Spellbinding stories about you, all of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here,
Краткое время.
you were.
Был прекрасен. Да вообще плевать. Умный рак, понятно. Мой друг это ведро. Все. 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 Мой друг это ведро. Что это? А, это... Я думаю, это какой-то... SCP справа был, это просто мне... Экран такой грязненький.
All of his co-workers were gone. What did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went
Так.
together would be Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his
Да, впервые тебя слушаю, чел. Так, что здесь? Продюс. Нужно больше планок. Так, стэш, это понятно? Red and Blue. Ага, понял. Да я понял, статуэтка говорят. Что? Здесь должна быть статуэтка. А, нет. Показалось.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked
Ну
up
здесь
to the
статуэтка.
office.
Да.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This
Стрим же много.
there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs.
Сынгурка.
What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that.
Статуэтка.
Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Ну, я наигрался. Да. Всем спасибо за просмотр. С вами был Дикер. Подписывайтесь на группу ВКонтакте. Заходите в Дискорд нам. Всем будем рады. Все, всем пока, всем удачки. Все, я наигрался. До зрителя классно просто. Лучший день. Ладно, все.